Hey guys, thanks for stopping by, checking out the video. Today we're going to put down some hay, and this video will kind of go along the whole process that we do here to make our horse quality hay. It did rain a little bit last night. I'm sure the wind isn't helping right now. It did rain a little bit last night, but it's been beautiful so far today. Sun's been out, it's been a little breezy. In the next few days should be beautiful hay drying weather, so we're going to get after it. Behind me you see our mower. This is a hay bind or a mower conditioner. It's basically an improvement on the old style sickle bar mower, and I'll bring you around to the other side. We'll check it out a little bit more. So again, this is the hay bind that we have here. Basically what it does is it cuts the hay and it crimps it, which is also known as conditions the hay, and spits it out the back into rows, nice and neat, and makes it easier for us to come along with the tedder and ted it up afterwards. So these rotate forwards, they come down, they basically just pick up the hay, all right, like reaching down into the grass, grabbing it and standing it up. Especially when you get taller, thicker hay, you'll see the wind will blow it over sometimes. So that helps with picking the hay up, making sure we're cutting it right where we want, kind of at the base of the grass or the stalk or what have you. Once that picks it up, there's a sickle bar down there, which is basically a hedge trimmer. All right, you have stationary pieces and sharp blades that go back and forth, and the grass comes in between them and slices it off. After that, this kind of continues to bring it up. All right, all the cut hay slides up a piece of metal back there, and it gets into the rollers. The rollers crimp the hay. They, condition, crimp. Those are pretty much used interchangeably. They roll in on themselves, and there's grooves and bulges that fit together very nicely. The grass gets sent through there, it rolls together, and then spits it out the back. Basically that breaks the stalks open or cracks the stalks or bends them, and it just assists with the drying process. The last thing I read said that just conditioning the hay can increase its drying time by up to 20%, which is awesome. Once we get hay down, we want it to dry as quick as possible and get it baled up before some more rain comes along, especially now when we're doing first cut. So let's get this hooked up down to the field and start cutting some grass. So these are my implement gloves. As you can see, they're all covered in grease and oil and just all sorts of nasty. I got tired of having all that grease and oil over my hands, and then I'm getting on the tractor. There's nowhere really good to wipe them, so I'm wiping them on my pants and getting it all over the steering column and the controls. So that wasn't good. And here's a friendly reminder, because I didn't do this. If you're leaving your gloves and stuff out in the barn or in a garage or just out, just hit them a little bit, pat them, shake them out. Make sure there's no, friendly little critters in there. I put my hand in this glove and about jumped out of my skin when I feel a spider start crawling up my finger there. So smashed it. I don't know what kind of spider it was, but don't live in my glove and you get to live. So let's get this hooked up. So now you can kind of see it in motion. Again, these are sweeping down to pick up the hay in front. Down there it is the cutting bar, the sickle blade, and then that runs right into these rollers that'll shoot it out the back and condition it. So we're all hooked up. Let's go cut some hay. So, unfortunately, I got here, I mentioned in the video, all the videos that I recorded from mowing, it was too hot, and I record these videos on my phone, which is in a black, thick case, and my phone overheated, and some of them it just didn't save, and then some of them that it did save, the files are corrupted, or it didn't record them correctly. So I don't have any videos of the actual mowing process. I apologize. I'll get more videos, and I'll put a link to that video in the description for this one. But tomorrow, we ted. Hey guys, another beautiful day here up on the farm. We're going to get going on some tedding. As you can see behind me, we have a 2-star tedder. Eventually down the road I'd like to get a 4-star tedder. Makes the process go a little bit quicker. It's basically the same setup. It just has 2 more of these, they call them stars, tedding prongs on each side. Again, just makes the process go a little bit quicker. The original plan was to just do our hayfield, which is only about a 7-acre hayfield. But since we have the equipment and I have the summers off, we agreed to do our neighbor behind us, we agreed to do her hayfield as well. So that added about 20 to 25 acres of hayfield to our plate, which is awesome. We're happy to do it, we're happy to help. So basically the process is these tines spin around, they come down, they catch the hay. This spins like this, rotates, catches the hay, and it fluffs it out behind the tractor. It flips it over, it spreads it out. It basically allows for the drying process of the hay to happen much quicker. So let's get down to the field, let's do some tedding. Alright, so we're down here at the field that we cut yesterday, one of the fields we cut yesterday. And I did a few passes so you guys could see the difference of before and after we ted. So over here you can see it's all fluffed up, spread out, and then right in front of me and to the right, these still have to be tedded. But you can get a good side-by-side comparison right here. Off to the left you can see it's been tedded already. Off to the right it's still in rows that our haybine has plopped out after it's gone through and cut the hay down. Also, real quick, how about this view? This camera totally doesn't do it justice, but ain't hard working when you got a view like this. This is pretty awesome. Again, tractor's right here, and we'll set it up so you guys can take a view of what the process looks like. So we came out to a second field. Everything worked great. Still have plenty of fields to do, but we got everything tedded. Tomorrow we'll come out, rake everything up, put it into windrows, and then hopefully on Saturday everything will be good to go and we'll bale it up. Morning, guys. Yesterday we tedded the couple fields that we have cut, so later today we'll rake them up into windrows. And like I said yesterday, we might bale one of the fields today. It was a little thinner, the grass was getting a lot of sun, good breeze going, so it might be dry enough to bale today. We'll see what that looks like. But what we should do before then is fix the baler. So last time we used the baler, almost a week ago, we came down here. We leave it closer to the fields during hay season. It's easier than bringing it up to the barn every single time. We came down here and the tire was completely flat. There's two tires on the baler. One has a slow leak, which, you know, it's old farm equipment. This baler was bought in 1974, I think, so it's seen its days, but it's still working, and we're hoping to keep using it as long as we can. We actually bought this baler from the previous owners of our house. The gentleman who owned that house actually grew up right here on a dairy farm. There's about 250 300 acres. That was all his family's dairy farm. It's got split up a little bit, but so we came down last week. The tire was totally flat, huge rip in it, and there was a tube inside. The tube had a big giant hole in it, so that wasn't good. Our friends over at County Tire in Delhi, they hooked us up. They threw a brand new ag tire on there, and a tube in it, and I think the whole thing was 125 bucks maybe. So that was super helpful, not too expensive, and you'll see this tire in a second. It's pretty big and beefy, and hopefully it'll last us another 40 years, because that first tire made it a long time. So we came down, we saw it was flat. We went back up and we have an extra set of running gear, so we ripped the tire off that. All those tires have tubes in it. We pumped that up, we threw it on here, and it worked. You can definitely see this baler is a heavy piece of machinery, so you can definitely see that the tire is straining a little bit. And I'll show you a side-by-side comparison just how much bigger the specific tire for the baler is. I looked over here, the horses came down to say hello. Checking things out, seeing what we're doing down here. This is Cricket, the young one. Hot Rod's not really caring. He's over there doing his thing. So, as you can see here, the baler tire is on the right, and the running gear tire is on the left, still attached. So you can see there's pretty significant difference in size and sturdiness. So we're going to swap these back out and get the baler tire back on the baler. And Paul, if you're watching this, I'm going to do it faster than we did it, even though it's just me, because I have time lapse. on, oh excuse me, the old tire on, old rim, new tire. We should be all good to go. It's nice and tightened up. You'll notice I had a little bit of trouble getting the bolt pattern lined up until I, plopped myself on my rump and really just kind of raised it up. But we got it on, we're all good. We're gonna go throw this back on the running gear, and in a little bit, maybe in an hour or two, start getting going on some raking here. We'll rake up what we tedded yesterday. So we're gonna get going on raking our hay. We're gonna rake it up into windrows, what they call windrows, so the baler can come along and scoop it up nice and easy. This is our hay rake. This is a parallel bar rake. As you can see, all these bars are parallel to the ground. And basically, as we drive, these rear wheels drive a drive shaft, which runs a belt, which will turn these parallel bars in a fashion like this. Kind of scoops the hay off to the side. Each tine scoops the hay off to the side, just passing it down the line, and it spits it out in a nice row towards the other end. It kind of rolls it together, which isn't terrible. You want to make sure these tines are up off the ground so you don't get a lot of dirt into your windrows. So let's rake some hay. So this is what we were working on yesterday. This is the second field we cut, but since it's a little bit lighter and drier actually, we're gonna bale this one first today. Yesterday we went through and raked all these windrows up, and today I'm just gonna roll them over. Maybe some of the lighter ones, like these two aren't super big, I might roll them together. Less passes with the baler. Yeah, you gotta go slower, but it'll be good. Yeah, we're just gonna roll them over. Any dew that gets on top or underneath, on top is already burned off, but anything that was underneath, we want to roll them over, give that the chance to dry. Again, horse hay, you want 15% moisture or less, and this stuff is good and dry, but we don't want any dew getting in there. We've been super fortunate to have some awesome hay drying weather. You can probably hear the wind now. But we've had phenomenal weather to dry this hay the last few days. It's been sunny, it's been warm, it's been dry, it hasn't been humid really at all, and as you can tell, there's pretty much been like a constant breeze going on, which has been awesome for us. So we're just gonna roll these windrows over and get going with the baler. say a huge thank you to Matt and Hillary Prescott for coming over, helping us out big time. My buddy Mike Hartwell came down all the way from Syracuse to help us. And also a big thank you to my mom, who ended up being here at the house when we were finishing up. We were still throwing the last wagon of hay, and I'm texting her and saying, hey, we got stuff to make tacos. Can you please throw those on the stove? We got a bunch of people down here who are really hungry. So that was so beyond helpful.
Oh, we were so hungry. It was great.
I think between the 6 of us, we ate like 3 pounds worth of taco meat. It was
about.
it was a lot of food, but it was really needed.
But thank you guys so much. You guys are rock stars.
Mm-hmm. So today, I did not get as much video or really kind of bringing you guys along as I would have liked. When it comes time to bail, I am a very stressed human being, and I am worried about the 15 things that are going wrong. So as we go on, we'll get a little bit better with that. Maybe because we still have to do second cut, and we still have to actually do a few fields to finish up first cut. Hopefully I can get some more video footage of the baler in action besides what we just showed you. So to recap the day, I started raking at like 10 a.m. or so. I went down. All the windrows were made. They were all raked up. You roll them over after they spend a night outside. Any dew that gets in there helps burn that off, as well as that one field that you guys saw me TED a lot. That field was really thick and lush, so rolling it over again today just helped finish up the drying process. So our hay was good, green, clean and green, as they say. We're really happy about that. And so we raked it. Then I came up. Mike Hartwell had showed up at that point. We made some lunch real quick. We headed down. Like I said before, that one tire on the baler has a slow leak. We fixed the one tire. The other tire has a slow leak. So we pumped some air in that. It's always something with old equipment, right? We pumped some air in that. At that point, Matt and Hillary showed up. We got the baler hooked up, and we ran through some of the old bales that were still in the baling chamber. Got all that old kind of junky hay out. Hooked it up and got going. Matt helped us, was in the wagon, stacked the wagon for the first one.
Put a lot more in the wagon for that.
Yeah, that was our first experience with actually stacking the wagon. So that was super helpful. Again, wish I had gotten a video of it, but I'm sure we'll get some more for you guys. Basically, as we're going along and the baler's spitting the bales into the wagon, Matt's back there. Half the time he was just catching them out of the air. And then
honestly so impressive.
Yes, stacking them right in a clean, neat way. Again, you can fit so much more in that wagon. So we fit about 3/4 of a full wagon because we only have one tractor. So we would then hook it up to the truck, bring it down to the barn with the truck. So we don't want to get too carried away because it's just my Tacoma hauling it. And Matt continued to bale with our second wagon. After that first wagon, I think it was the first wagon, right? We noticed that the tire was blown.
Yeah. Well, you stopped going downhill. You literally brought the truck downhill, so now the truck's here, and the wagon's like this, and all of the pressure is on that front passenger side tire of the hay wagon. And I literally just watched the hay wagon because me and Hillary are in my car behind it, and I see the whole wagon kind of go, meh. I'm like, what? That doesn't look good.
That tire wasn't long for this world anyways, but
it was pretty sad looking to begin with.
So again, thankfully, we have a second set of running gear. Me and Mike Hartwell, we ran up to the barn like a NASCAR pit crew. We changed the tire out from the old running gear to the running gear that we were using. We did that in 10 minutes or less. It was super quick. So once we got the hay wagon all fixed up, we brought that back down to the field. Matt was working the tractor and the baler, and was pretty much just finishing up with that second field, so it was good timing. When we started going on the the second field, that was when the baler kind of started to, we'll say, kick and scream, maybe throw a tantrum or two. It still worked, but it just wasn't the smoothest sailing ship out on the sea, we'll say. So we're down unloading a wagon down at the barn, and all of a sudden we see Matt is off the tractor looking at the baler.
Yeah, and this thing it's so loud. It sounds like it should be in a Final Destination movie. So when you hear it go off from like 2-3 fields away, we all kind of look at each other like, ooh, that's probably not a good thing.
So we go up there, we see what's going on. Matt is saying that there's a bunch of pulleys and belts, and one of the like pulley wheels that runs the belt. He said the nut that holds that in place was glowing red hot. So we're assuming the bearing on it either seized up or burned out or never worked to begin with. I don't really know. So we let that cool. We went back to the barn, got more tools, pulled that off, got the grease gun. We got a bunch of grease in there. We got WD-40 on every other joint we could reach. We got grease on some other joints. We put it all back together, and as far as we could tell, it was definitely turning a lot smoother. And it, nothing started smoking nor getting red hot after that. So fingers crossed that as at least a temporary fix, it worked for the rest of the day, no problem. A little bit later, same thing. We notice, hey, we don't hear the baler. The tractor doesn't really sound like it's running either. We go up there. The belt for the kicker, it's definitely a little bit older, it's stretched out a little. It had been coming off a couple times. Matt put it back on a couple times, and it was to the point where we're like, we got a little bit left. Let's just keep running it. And it was because one of the rollers in the kicker, there's 3 rollers on top, 3 rollers on the bottom, and this angled chute,
Spins it out.
One of the rollers, which is controlled by a belt, it shifted, so all the wheels for the belt are in line except for this one that's way over here. So no wonder the belt is coming off with ease. So we get the sledgehammer, we're trying to bang it over, move it back into some sort of line with the other wheels. It didn't budge at all, and we were really wailing on it. So that'll be a project we have coming up. Take a look at the baler and help it along, because we got to get through at least this year, hopefully a few more years with that baler.
A lot more years with that baler.
Yeah. And then we came up, ate some tacos and showered, got all clean, and now we're ready for bed. It was a long day.
Good though, invigorating.
Absolutely.
Nice to be out when the weather's nice.
Yeah.
Better than sitting around.
Like I said before, couldn't have asked for better weather. Really pleased with how this section turned out. We still got a few more fields to do for our first cut, and we also got second cut to do. So thanks for checking out the video, following along with this whole process.
Whoa, hold on. You didn't tell them about all the fun other things that happened, like your thumb and the bees later.
Yep. At one point, Hillary says, hold on, stop. There's baling twine in the gear that runs the elevator, of course. So this was like our second to last wagon, thankfully.
Yeah.
Get my pocket knife out. I'm trying to get at the baling twine.
Hillary's word were hacking. He was hacking at it.
The knife kind of popped up, and I lost hold of it for a second, and I grabbed it to make sure I had control of the knife. Well, I grabbed it with the blade facing perfectly up, and my thumb came right down on top of the blade. So I got a real good sized
yeah, probably
slice.
an inch long, pretty deep, but it's healing just fine. Well, and then I'm like not very accident prone, so I'm not used to getting hurt or affected by things. And obviously the tines of the baler scrape the ground, pick up the hay, and we must have at some point hit a ground hive of bees. I'm not sure what kind. They weren't wasps. They were small. And I'm sitting in my car in the hayfield, window down. Hillary's in the passenger seat. I'm stopped, but the car's not in park. I'm just on the brake. And a bee flies in through my window, latches onto my nose, and starts stinging me repeatedly while crawling up my nostril to continue stinging me. So naturally, my foot's off the brake. We start rolling down the hayfield. I'm freaking out. Hillary's like, so everyone's like, hit the brakes, you're rolling, stop moving. So eventually I get the bug out of my nose and it hurts very bad, but I lived. The entire left side of my face swelled up for like 5 minutes. I'm not allergic, but by the time we got up to the house to grab Benadryl, the swelling was already going down. So I just took ibuprofen to help with that. But yeah.
So, always something. Always something. But again, huge thanks to my mom for being here to make us dinner. Mike and Matt and Hillary. Obviously, Katie is a huge help too.
Yeah, I'm great.
As they say, it takes a village. So this definitely was a process that I can pretty much get away with doing it solo for the cutting, the tedding, the raking, all that kind of stuff, all the upkeep work, making sure everything's good to go. But when it comes to baling,
you need a crew.
Oh, I need a crew.
Yeah, and it was awesome. It was perfect. And I mean, we'll throw a picture in after this of what the cow barn that we're stacking the hay in looks like right now, because it is being like the penthouse on top of that hay.
Yeah, we got about 1,000 bales in there already, and we've got plenty more to do. So, again, thanks for following along and checking out the video, and we'll see you on the next one.